Hello, so welcome to this next video for 3218 Game Design and Development at the University of Southampton. My name's Dave Millard, I'm one of the lecturers on the course, and I'm here with...
I'm Tom Blount, I am also a lecturer on the course.
Okay, so we're going to look at a couple of student games in this video. Tom, do you want to say a little bit about what we asked them to do?
Absolutely. So for this coursework, we asked our students to submit a small game prototype that had a clear core dynamic and a way of tutorialising that and the mechanics to the player.
Great. Okay, so we're going to look at our first game, which I think is called Puttplat. So here we go. Ah, there we are. Puttplat, a golfing platformer. And these look like level selects, which is a good idea, given how good we are.
Either that or football scores.
yeah. All right, let's go for 1-1 then. Shot ready. A little arrow.
I'm already disappointed that they've not called this Platty Putt.
Yeah, there's an opportunity missed. Shot ready, so
okay.
click. Okay. Shot ready. All right.
So I'm pretty sure I know how this works.
Yeah, this makes more sense. But what they told me to do was click on the white ball.
Was click on the thing, yeah.
Oh, hole in one.
Perhaps difficult to convey without text, but we figured it out, I guess.
Yeah. I think they how would you do it? So you'd have to have sort of you'd have to talk people through it, wouldn't you? I think. So it worked quite well. So I press,
or some kind of animation, I guess.
So I presume the length is my power. So let's go for that. Oh, no, way off.
Nope, not quite.
Okay.
You've got yourself in a tricky spot now. Oh, yeah.
And I clicked. Yeah, or reset.
You're just going to reset.
I'm just going to reset.
It's nice that they've put in the skip button, though. Just for in case there are people who.
I wonder whether I need to do 2 shots for this.
I think you might. Ooh.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Well, you're still going to need the extra shot. Okay.
All right. I'll do a little one. So okay. So if I come along a little bit. Oh, that's pathetic.
That's what we need, right? We need to know what the par is.
Yes.
Like, should we be aiming for 2 shots? Should we be aiming for 3?
Yes, we're kind of missing that. So I've got my shots up in the left-hand corner. Also, I find it's slightly slow to respond. So I tend to there's just a couple of seconds where you expect to be able to click and then can't.
Okay.
4. Next level. All right. Okay. So I think I'm beginning to get the measure of this now. Okay,
so in that case, shall we start?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just wondering whether let's see if we can get a little bit further in. I'm wondering if there's any more elements that they're going to introduce. Right.
I am pretty sure there are.
So, which we might need to see.
I think we can start talking about the general aesthetic of it.
Go on. So presentation is first, right?
Yeah, so first we're going to be looking at sort of the overall quality of the game in terms of sort of the presentation and the gameplay. But first presentation, there we go. Here's some of those different elements.
So
I guess let's focus on these first.
Yeah. So, okay, so I've got a star now. So I now got shots and stars.
Yes.
I wonder if so that looked like a bouncy thing.
So you're just going to try and...
Not entirely sure. Oh, I see. So you think I could bounce, and then go in or something?
Maybe.
Yeah. So I think I got there. I think I know what they're trying to get me to do. They're trying to get me to do something like this, I guess.
Let's give it a shot and see what happens. Oh, almost.
Almost, yeah.
Good. All right. So hang on. Before we go on, look at this score screen and tell me what you think it means.
Yeah, no clue. So I've got a par, but so stars 1, shots 1, time, total 2, par 1. I don't even understand what the second line is.
So here's the thing:
Yeah.
you get so those stars on the score screen are not the stars you've collected.
Oh, they're not.
You get a star for collecting all of the stars. You get a star for having the correct number of shots, and you get a star for doing it within a certain amount of time.
That's very confusing. And then what's this grey stuff? So is this the total what? Total. So I've got stars 1, total shots 1 par, and time and par. So I've got 2 par. This is very confusing.
Basically, the grey is the par, or what you're aiming for to get a star.
So I should be able to get 2 stars in 1 par in less than 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have one more go at that. Okay. That didn't go well.
Could have gone better. But yeah, it makes sense once you understand how it works. But just the fact that it's effectively they're scoring you out of 3, right? But the fact that they're stars and you also have to collect stars
that's pretty confusing. So what am I doing now? So how do I get up there? Down. Okay. So I'm gonna just play this to try and get through the levels to start with.
Okay, so other than that, I kind of like the scoring system because it's kind of got that whole, similar to Zachtronics games where they score you in a bunch of different categories. So you can be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do it in par, but I can collect all of the stars.
Yes. Yeah. That's true. I think that they're difficult to do those kind of things though. It's kind of like, what do you? So I'm thinking about there are games, for example, where you so what you do is you collect the stars individually, right? So it would say, right, can you complete this level? So they're each level has 3 different challenges on it, right?
Well, that's the thing. What it should have is a star trophy, a clock trophy, and I don't know, a putter trophy.
Yes. And then it makes sense because then each level is multi-layered and replayable, and can you effectively play it in different ways to achieve those different goals.
But that said, I think each of those elements nicely supports their core dynamic, which we'll talk about later. But yeah.
So let's have a look. Okay, so there's sort of sticky block. Yeah. I mean, the game itself's kind of nice, actually. I kind of, as a sort of a puzzler. So
yeah. There you go.
Going. What do I want to do?
I think you want to hammer it.
What do you think the water does? Let's go and find out.
I suspect water is bad.
There's a lovely splosh sound then.
Oh, good. I was going to say, how is the audio? Is there some nice background music or anything?
There's no background music, but the sound effects are quite nice. There's kind of
almost.
Yeah. The background effects are there's nice bonk noises as I bounce off things, a nice swoosh noise as I nice sort of swoosh noise as you hit the right. This isn't going to work well, is it? So maybe if I go over here.
Straight up.
Oh no!
Just straight up. Oh,
it's not gone well. Right, let's try that. Oh, crikey! All right. Oh, so what do these do? They accelerate you? I think they accelerate. Why is that one static? I'm confused by this.
So I was gonna say, what do you think this does? Because I know what it is. I've seen play this.
It's making sort of woo woo noise as you go through it. So it looks to me like you can shoot through it and it accelerates you. But I've no idea. Is that right?
So
am I right?
think you have to be going at a certain speed to pass through it. Otherwise, you'll bounce off of it.
Oh, I see. No, I completely misunderstood that. All right. Well,
so there you go.
There you go. Yeah,
there you go. They introduce it, and then they make a level basically based around understanding that thing, which I think is kind of nice.
Yes, that's true. So now,
right,
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I think we're in a place where I think we can start having a proper look at the. So presentation.
Yeah. So the sort of cohesion of all the different visual components, the information design, the audio design, and things like that.
Yeah.
I think, like, visually looking at it, it looks really nice. It's like simple and clear and like kind of minimal and blocky, but that helps all of the different bits stand out. So it's obvious what a sticky bit is, it's obvious what the water bit is, and like particularly here when we've got all the different elements together, I think it's like visually really like clear and nice. And we've got a little contextual prompt for you there.
That was quite cute, actually. Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think it's a nice looking game. The sound's a bit minimal. I think they could have done more with it, but it does work, and it's there. It just gives you a little bit of feedback. The presentation is really nice. The font is nice. It's always good when people kind of try to integrate that in. And the different elements very, very clear. So I think they've done a good job.
So if we refer to our marking criteria, to get a good would be key information is shown clearly, graphics are consistent, and there's appropriate use of audio. And I think we can say that easily there, right?
Yes, I think that's true. So information design we haven't talked about much. So we've got the shots and the stars at the top.
Oh, that's true.
We've got the strength of the shot. I mean, I know it's a fairly well-worn sort of idea, but it works well.
Yeah, and then you've got the numbers at the top as well, sort of reinforcing that. So that's true. I was thinking of information design purely in terms of the, I guess, the different types of blocks and things like that.
Yeah.
But also thinking back to that score, the score screen, and how we sort of didn't quite understand what that was talking about at the start. So yeah, there is that as well. There's definitely room for improvement still.
Yes, kind of. So I think it depends on how forgiving we want to be. So I think the graphics and the audio, the graphics are probably slightly above good, I would say, or definitely good, maybe. The audio is probably slightly below good, and then the information design, it's like, well, the main stuff that's going on is fine, but there's quite a lot of confusion about what you're aiming to do. And as we said, how you're scoring, you know. So maybe we should be looking at sort of slightly less than good, maybe halfway between good and satisfactory.
Okay, so a satisfactory would be key information is shown, consistent graphics, some audio. I think it's better.
It's better than that on graphics and audio, but it's the I suppose the information. Go on. If you feel we should be a bit higher, I'm happy to go for a good. I think
I would say this is solidly in a good. I was almost wondering like if perhaps it's beyond that, but you're right. I think like particularly the scoring system and sort of communicating those goals and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go for good.
Okay. So the next one is, what is our next one? Gameplay. So the mechanics, the controls. They've got a number of different mechanics in this. All the different sort of blocks, the different scoring systems.
There's a lot going on, actually. So I would say that they've got quite an extensive set of mechanics, and they're nicely integrated as well. They fit together really well. You know, like the especially when you get to the kind of the sticky blocks and the blocks that you can move through but only at speed. I think that's very effective.
And they combine them together nicely as well.
They do. And the kind of core thing you're doing, which is, as in my case, failing to get the damn ball on top of that ledge, that's quite satisfying. That's that.
Okay, so again, if we refer back to our mark scheme, so a good would be set of complementary mechanics, smooth and usable controls, and meaningful play.
So I think we definitely got that. So what would be
to get excellent, you would require a wide set of complementary mechanics, intuitive and smooth usable controls, enjoyable and meaningful play.
Do you know, I think they're there. I'm definitely playing it.
I think I'd agree with you, yeah.
And they've integrated things really nicely.
I say it's those combinations of different, like particularly that last level where it's where they use all of the different components in one level. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or really excellent, in fact. Okay, so the next one is bugs. So this is about how complex the game is and how many sort of bugs we've seen. Have you noticed any bugs?
No, I haven't. It looks to me like it works pretty well, actually.
Cool. So in which case we're going to be sort of looking at, like, is this game complex enough that we'd expect there to be...
We're talking about bugs. Is this a bug?
Oh, you're sort of stuck infinitely bouncing.
Oh, did you see it went shot red? No. They picked it up, though. They said it gave me another chance. Did you notice that?
Interesting.
Unfortunately, I was clicking about. So yeah, basically what happened is it let me take the shot while the ball was in motion. Now, this might be one of those classic examples of, is it a bug or is it a feature?
You're going to have to try and set that up again now.
Yeah, no chance. But yeah.
I mean, it would be a bug if it didn't do that, I would say. Like, if you got stuck there bouncing instantly, that would definitely be...
Yeah, I'd agree.
So even if it's a happy coincidence, yeah.
So I don't think there is. So I think that probably puts them at the excellent range, and the game's definitely complex enough.
Cool. In which case that puts them down at an excellent. Cool. So the next thing is about how well they fulfilled the brief. So in this case, we were looking at sort of level design and their tutorial.
So, okay. So level design. The level design. So it definitely shows off the mechanics, and it does it in a really nice way. There's definitely pacing, so that you clearly introduce new elements, and it gets more and more complex, leading up to kind of some quite complicated puzzles at the end. So I think they've done a pretty reasonable job for level design. What else were we looking for?
If I read out again from our criteria, for a good, they would need sensible level design, demonstrating a number of mechanics, with good pacing and clear goals, risks, and rewards.
So goals, risks, and rewards is interesting.
So I know
they get that from the stars, I was going to say.
Yeah. So, well, also all three of their scoring criteria, right? So it's a shame that it's not emphasized as more of a kind of, you can choose to try and get all the stars, or you can choose to try and get all of the shots, or you can... I mean, it kind of is. Or it's like, okay, do you reckon you can get both of them?
So I would say that the way to do it is when you enter the level, it should tell you the par. Right?
Yeah.
And it should show you which trophies you've already got. And also, I don't think it shows you the time on this screen. So that's another little bit of information design failure, I think.
That is a good point, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's how you do it. But actually, in terms of getting your goals, risks, and rewards, once you know that that's there, just because, if you overlook the fact that it's not communicated particularly well, once you know it's there, that's a very effective way of playing the game, and does definitely give you these alternative paths and goals, risks, and rewards. So I think they've done quite a nice job on level design. So what's the excellent criteria?
The criteria for excellent is sophisticated level design, demonstrating a wide range of mechanics with good varied pacing and balanced goals, risks, and rewards. And certainly in terms of the pacing, they have this thing, whereas just now they introduce a new element in a relatively simple level, but then sort of raise the complexity in the next one.
Yeah. I think they've achieved excellent. I think it's rather nice.
I think I agree. Okay, so next one is about the tutorial design, so how they've explained those elements to the player.
So the tutorial is... so actually, let me go back. So, here you go. It shows you the stars, how many stars you've got. That's nice as well. So, other than this rather opaque thing right at the beginning, which in fairness is sort of implying you should drag. There you go. Click and drag.
It's doing its best.
It's doing its best, yeah, and it is difficult to communicate. So other than that, I think they've done rather a nice job. Like, this one is very simple. You've got to get over this to get into the finish line. They don't tell you that that's the finish box, but it's fairly obvious, and they kind of give you a finish flag. So we're sticking with that one mechanism, and now I've got a bigger challenge. So here I have to kind of understand about the different strength of shots and things. So I think they've done a nice job of actually integrating the tutorial into the game.
It's also kind of interesting how they really tried not to use much in the way of text for their tutorials. Yes. So having like the little animations at the bottom of each level.
Yes. So we haven't seen one of those quite yet this playthrough, have we? So Yeah.
It's alright, we'll get there.
Yeah. So maybe I should actually let me cheat and just go straight there. So it's 1, 2. Which one's which? Do you think?
So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. So I assume 2, 1 is.
Yeah, let's try that one.
Classic Mario numbering. Oh no, it's not that one.
Yeah, there we go. So we've got this tutorial thing down the bottom, which is kind of cute actually. It kind of I like the way that they've included it in the level as just a thing going on to show you what's happening. That works quite well. And also this puzzle is set up in such a way that you have to use it in order to get the stars. I think the first playthrough, this is where they introduced the stars as well, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, I think their tutorial design's really nice. It's well integrated. It's gradual. So again, what would excellent be?
Excellent would be an integrated tutorial that communicates the goals, risks, and rewards through level design, and that introduces information and mechanics in a logical way that builds on what has gone before.
So I think that's almost a precise definition of what they've done. What would Prizeworthy be?
Prizeworthy. So, hang on. Before we have a look at the Prizeworthy, I would say that the goals, risks, and rewards. This ties in sort of to the information design as well.
That's true.
The goals, risks, and rewards are maybe not communicated as well as they could be.
I've done it again, by the way, with the bouncing ball thing.
Yes, you have. Let's see if we can.
So I won't touch the controls a minute. Oh no, hang on a minute. Oh, it just bounced me off. That's disappointing.
Again, I wonder if that's something to do with a quirk of the physics engine, or if they've just gently nudged you.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So Prizeworthy would be a fully integrated tutorial that successfully communicates goals, risks, and rewards through level design, that introduces information and mechanics in a novel yet logical way that builds on and reinterprets what has gone before.
So I think the problem there is a little bit towards as you said, introducing the multiple scoring elements is a little bit clumsily handled. So I might argue that sort of stops it being Prizeworthy, but I still think it fits into the excellent category.
I would almost, okay, all right. Let's say excellent. I was going to argue perhaps a notch below, but you're right. I think all the other elements definitely keep it in that excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so in which case the next thing that we'll be looking at is the core dynamic that they chose to use for this. So alongside their game, we asked each group to submit a small little document sort of talking about some of the design decisions. So what do you think they've said for the core dynamic?
Well, I'm guessing it's spatial reasoner.
You are correct.
So I it's one of those ones where you could get distracted by collection or even race to the end because they have those elements in there.
But that's the thing. I think in this case, those elements actually sort of reinforce the spatial reasoning, because it's a case of how do you collect those things, or how do you navigate the space in that fastest time. So I think
absolutely right. So I'm very happy with that as a choice. And also, as you said, what they've done then is that not only are the major elements about doing that, so how do I knock this ball around the level to get it into the finish goal, but the kind of subsidiary goals they've given me of collecting things, of doing it in time, are in service of that puzzle. So I think they've done a very nice job.
All right, so reading from the criteria again, an excellent would be a clear core dynamic that suits the theme of the game and is well supported by an integrated set of mechanics and appropriate audio-visual choices.
So, I mean, I think it's there, isn't it?
I think it is. I think that sort of hits the nail on the head, really.
So again, what would Prizeworthy be?
So Prizeworthy would be a clear core dynamic that suits the theme of the game and that is entirely supported by a well-integrated set of mechanics and resonant audio-visual choices.
Yeah.
And again, I can't actually hear the audio because of the way we're screen sharing. But based on what you were saying, I feel like maybe they could have done a bit more with it.
Yeah, I think so. There's little sound effects, but they could have done a bit. Yeah, they could definitely have done a bit more. I also think graphically, although it's nice and consistent, it might have been nice to kind of change the look of the stages as you went through in some way to kind of reflect maybe the difficulty or reflect kind of what you were trying to accomplish within each stage or something. So I think kind of, but I think it definitely is
still an excellent effort.
Yeah, definitely still up at the excellent level. Very, very nice.
All right, and the last thing is the feedback. So during development, we gave all of the groups some feedback on their early ideas and then asked them to articulate and interpret that and make some appropriate changes. So for Puttplat, handily they bullet pointed all of the feedback they got, which makes this bit much easier for me.
Yes.
So they said some of the feedback they got was the player should not get frustrated with the game and also not find it boring. So it's slightly general feedback. So they talk about how they sort of basically just tried to balance the complexity and the difficulty of the game. So they kept the levels short, but had the scoring systems that meant a perfect score would require several attempts and things like that.
Yeah.
So one of the other pieces of feedback was about the clarity, so making it clear what each of the different blocks does. And so they've made them very, very sort of, what do you call it? Clear, blocky colours, sort of differentiating all of the different blocks.
Okay, which is one of the things we sort of complimented them on, wasn't it?
Yep, making it clear to predict what the result of a player's action would be. So I think that's why they added the line to sort of indicate the trajectory a bit, as well as the power of the shot.
Yeah, I think that works well.
And also, do not go too heavy on the text when teaching the player. So this one, they may have... I almost feel like they may have overdone it with just trying to do everything just through animations, but... they're definitely suitable animations for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they've managed to report back their feedback, and they've certainly had some success in implementing it. So whereabouts does that put them on the scale?
That's right. I still got the mark scheme. So good, for example, would be feedback was articulated and reasonable changes have been successfully made.
Kind of feels about there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm going to try and get this in before we finish the video, which is always, go on. There we go. Yeah, I don't care about the start. I just want to get in. Yay.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move. Right, so I think at this point we'll hand over to Age and Josh to have a look at the next game.
Hello, my name is Adrienne Chapman. I'm a lecturer on COMP3218. We are here today doing a batch of courseworks for our very first coursework. With me today is...
Josh Harris, PhD demonstrator for this module. And what we have asked students for in this coursework is a game prototype that features one core dynamic and also features a tutorial to teach the player how to play the game.
Excellent. We're going to be starting today with Build-A-Bot. So let's start a new game. Can you hear me now? Ooh, helpful. I'm not sure why that was helpful, but Thud, we've got some nice dialogue here. We've got a bat. Oh, I can see. Oh, look, I'm an eyeball. So basically, I'm being told what to do, but indeed, look, I can go back and forth. Great. I'm practicing. In this case, I was kind of told what to do as opposed to shown or played, but that's okay. I've got a little narrator here. I am struggling. Let's go. All right. Oh, isn't this cute?
Got some legs.
I've got legs. And I can climb stairs. I feel so powerful. Oh no. I'm stuck again. So, let's see. Bat's gonna help me again. I've got springs. So I have to press X. Oops, I have to press X. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to press I. Okay, so if I open my inventory, I can equip them here. My storage. And these are my inventory. And placing parts there equips them. So let's equip the springs. All right, so does that mean I've got to go from here? Oops.
So I just drag from there onto the legs.
Onto the legs, yep. And then I close out my inventory, and let's see if I'm gonna practice. Whoa, look at this. I'm still probably gonna fall into the pit, but that's okay. Not for lack of. Oh, very nice, a checkpoint.
So I think first impressions of this game, it's got some really cute little features. I think the tutorial is definitely explaining to you what you need to do, but might come across a bit too hand-holdy.
Possibly, but I do like that they're forcing me to practice things. Like I couldn't skip the inventory. I had to actually do this. So we have to go up now. I wonder if I can't climb either. We'll figure it out.
Okay, that's quite nice. So they're giving you the basics to work out what you're doing in the game. And now they're sort of letting you work the rest out yourself. So my best guess is you have to go down the tunnel to the right to go and find some arms.
And I bet I actually need those springs still, don't I? Whoops.
You're dropping the legs, not the body.
Thank you. Alright, so we're gonna go, and it's, oh goodness, I'm gonna die! And I've died, I'm sorry. But nicely, they put a checkpoint right there. Well done. There is cute little sound. I'm sorry. There are cute little sounds. There are very cute little sounds as I jump. Sorry. So while I struggle through this, why don't we start talking about what we are marking this game against?
Yeah, so the first sort of category we're marking against is quality. And the sub-criteria we'll talk about first is the presentation, information, design, and aesthetics. So if we sort of start with the baseline, if it was good in terms of presentation, then we'd be sort of looking for key information is shown clearly, graphics are consistent, appropriate use of audio, effects, and/or music.
Right. So the music is very nice, and on top of the background music that I have, I wasn't paying attention to what that told me to do here. Aha, there we go. Thank you for that. And it was really nice. Can I say I was so happy to be teleported back here and not have to do the jumps back now that I have had my path through and have my arms. Oh look, another teleporter, and I know what that is now. I wonder where it goes. We don't know yet.
That's the receiver, isn't it? So you have to go through the tool one and come out on that little.
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent. So going back to this, there's really nice sound. There's a nice little background sound. I feel kind of relaxed as I walk along. I'm not in any hurry, which I don't see a timer, so I don't think I need to be in any hurry. I have little boingies every time I jump. It's very cute.
Yeah, they've specified that their core dynamic is spatial reasoning, so that implies that it's just a cute little platforming game with a few sort of puzzle elements, rather than a sort of rush to the end. So it's good they've got the sound to kind of go along with that idea of a relatively slow-paced platforming game. Yeah, I think it looks really cute. It's got a very sort of simple, clean design. Everything's very obvious what it is. You see spikes, you know you don't have. You have to avoid the spikes. You see the ladder, you can climb up that.
Very nice. And look, they've so I cling to the ceiling by C. I'm going to forget that, so you have to help me. So yeah, the controls also feel, the information design, I basically have this very nice little inventory that I can go into. I can manage what I have. I know what I'm allowed to have. Weirdly, I seem to have arms, but they are neither in the... Oh, I see. This is me in general. So I'm going to put magnets on my hands for just a moment, and...
A sentence you never think you're going to hear.
Yep. So, I think they've done a really nice job on information design in terms of managing what I need to know. And one of the things I really like about this is that it is actually part of the game. It's not extra things around on the screen. What am I supposed to do? I should jump and grab. Whoops. Whoa.
Yeah, C was the button too.
C. C seems to not be doing much here.
Okay. Do you want to press C?
There's C. Nothing's happening. So let me jump and see. No. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go back and see if I can do anything else. We might have just found a bug, but we're not in bugs yet. So I think actually information design, they're doing really well. Could you read me, please, the good information design, or what we've said in terms of what we would expect for a good mark?
So good would be key information is shown clearly, graphics are consistent, appropriate use of audio, effects and/or music.
Excellent.
I think it might go a bit higher than that.
I do too. Could you read me off an excellent, please?
The excellent is key information is shown clearly, consistent and appealing graphics, good use of audio. And I think I would agree. It would be,
yes, I agree completely. We are very consistent graphics. Every information is exactly what I needed. Yes, I think we are definitely in the excellent. What is the next category up from excellent?
The next category up is prizeworthy. And for that, it would have to be novel yet clear ways of showing key information, consistent and thematically resonant graphics, excellent use of both audio effects and music. I think the key word in there is novel, and I think it's very hard to push into that kind of prizeworthy category in this.
I agree. I think it's clearly a nice tick in the excellent category, although I'm struggling with this now jump, but that's okay. So let's move, while I'm struggling with this, what is the next thing that the next category we need to look at?
The next category we're looking at is gameplay, mechanics and controls.
Mechanics and so I actually think that the controls are very smooth. Even me with my fumble fingers, I feel that they are responding exactly as I would expect.
Okay.
So how are we looking in terms of good controls?
So good controls would be a set of complementary mechanics and smooth, usable controls that leads to meaningful play.
Okay, and what about excellent in this case?
Excellent in this case is a wide set of complementary mechanics and intuitive and smooth, usable controls that lead to enjoyable and meaningful play.
I got distracted by my death. Could you read excellent again?
A wide set of complementary mechanics and intuitive and smooth, usable controls that lead to enjoyable and meaningful play.
There we go. So the difference is the wide set of mechanics in this case. And so in this case, let's look at the mechanics that we have. Not only do we have the general movement, running, jumping, we've got sticky arms, we've got magnets, we've got an inventory that changes the properties of our movement, so it's not just walking, but it's springy legs. I am seeing a wide set of mechanics in this case.
I think so. Looking at the inventory, there seems to be a lot more things coming down the road as you get further through the game. It looks to be quite a big prototype, actually.
Yes.
From that inventory screen. But yeah, and I'm guessing later on you have some puzzle elements where you can't use magnet hands and a different kind of hand at the same time. So you have to decide between the two. Swap off your magnets and add something else.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly what we're about to see here. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I should be trying to jump to the other one.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So let's do this. So let's see. So what I think we are easily in the excellent category for controls. Can you take us up to prizeworthy, and what's the difference there?
Prizeworthy is a wide set of complex and complementary mechanics with novel yet intuitive and smooth controls that lead to sustained, enjoyable and meaningful play.
So I do feel that, especially with the choice of at some point I'm going to get to a point where I have to choose between what's on my hands, whether I just have hands or magnets. And so for example, over here, I see a ladder coming up on my left, and I see a bunch of rails that I could glide upon, that I'm going to have to choose whether I take a ladder or whether I take magnet hands to get to where I'm going, that it may actually be edging up towards complex.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for like a half tick above excellent in this case, but not necessarily. I feel that we're not quite all the way up at prizeworthy. If only we haven't seen in this case where there's well, actually that's not true. We have boingy legs with hands at this point, so we are combining them in different ways.
So are you thinking it's going into prizeworthy, or is it?
I think it's almost a prize worthy.
Okay.
Okay. And bug-wise, I'm not seeing any bugs at all, to be honest. Although I've died a lot, and they have a lovely checkpoint that I'm loving. So I think we actually also have a fairly complex game. It's not a very simple game at this point. The inventory works smoothly. I can get in and out of it. I have different, I can move things about, and I have not seen any bugs. So it's complex and no bugs, or infrequent bugs at this point. So what does that set us?
So an excellent is the game is playable and reasonably complex. There are no obvious bugs. Or a good is the game is playable and reasonably complex. There are only minor bugs and these are uncommon.
Great. It is. Sorry, what was the one with very complex and no bugs?
So reasonably complex and no bugs is excellent.
I think that firmly falls in the excellent category.
Fantastic.
Okay. And look at me! I made the jump!
Yay. Now you've got to land on that tiny little square.
Yeah, that's going to be an impossibility. I bet I have to go over to that one before I can get to the ladder. Or maybe not. Yeah, I have a feeling I've got to go to that. All right, well. So this is actually one of the few bits of feedback I would like to give is you have to remember that some players are more able than others, and especially in a prototype game where you want somebody to see your whole game, do make sure that while some things are challenging, they are get-throughable. So,
yeah, I think a good way of managing difficulty is having optional challenges. So the base game is accessible to anyone.
Absolutely.
And if you want to kind of add the mastery, add the kind of like layers on layers of your mechanics and sort of really show off what it can do, have that as optional objectives or like bonus levels at the end.
Absolutely. So let's move on now to our looking at the level design, both tutorial level and the level design component of this.
So the first bit's level design, and so we start in a good section. So good level design would be a sensible level design that demonstrates a number of mechanics with good pacing and some clear goals, risks, and rewards.
I swear I'm jumping at this point. Anyways, so yes. So in this case, it was a very nice pace. So I'm actually in a very hard part of this level, and I'm hoping it's actually because I'm closer to the end. But there were a series of checkpoints coming up to here. And I really actually did like the pacing up to this point where it was flat, it was easy, there were some few spikes for me to jump over. I learned as I was going through, I got harder and harder jumps, and then I got the arms. I actually think the pacing did really well, although at this point I think it might have ramped up a bit hard. Nope, can't get there. So, where are we in terms of, I think the pacing was good.
So that was that good section. If it was bumping up to excellent, it'd be a sophisticated level design that demonstrates a wide range of mechanics with good varied pacing and balanced goals, risks, and rewards.
So I don't think we're quite at excellent, only because I don't really yet see that agency, right? That goals, risks, rewards. So there hasn't been, so a good example of that would have been, I am really struggling with the timing of the jumps to the magnets. So maybe there's a longer way that has more ladders and, there's an alternate path. So I have agency in terms of choosing my path here, right?
Yeah. Or perhaps if you had this challenge to be so you've got these tiny little platforms to try to land on. If they were more generous, but you had an optional objective off the side, say if you could collect a bonus magnet that's a different colour, or if you wanted more coins or something, whatever system you choose to use, optional objectives are quite a good way of adding extra difficulty without alienating some players.
Yep, I think that is exactly right. So I think we're not quite in the excellent category, but I think we are slightly beyond good. I think the pacing's really good, and it is a very complex set of mechanics that they taught in a very, it led me through it in a nice pace.
Yeah, and I think the mechanics will work really well together. So yeah, do you think between good and excellent then?
I do. Now let's talk about the tutorial design.
Yeah, so the tutorial, so it started with the bat telling you what to do, and then it kind of, so it made sure you knew what you were doing before you could move on to the next section. So starting off with the most basic controls of moving left and right, and then carrying on with the stairs, introducing the unlockable legs, introducing the unlockable spring jump just after that. So I think it really does tutorialise the system really well. As well as the making sure you have to learn how to use the inventory system. So it could have equipped the magnet hands for you automatically, but instead it told you to go into the inventory and find out for yourself how to drag things onto your player.
Yep, I agree completely with this. I think they did a phenomenal job at the tutorial level. And it's obvious there's more tutorials to come should I ever be able to figure out how to go left or right off of this. So, it was an integrated. It is an integrated tutorial. It's complex. There are lots of things going on here. What does excellent look like?
Excellent is an integrated tutorial that communicates goals, risks, rewards through level design, and introduces information and mechanics in a logical way that builds on what has gone before. And
So
I think that's.
I do. I like this on the tutorial design. Yep.
Okay, so that's an excellent for that one.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the core dynamic. I'm assuming that in their course notes that we've asked them to submit, that they have stated that this is a spatial reasoner or spatial.
Yep. So they've said the core dynamic of the game is spatial reasoning, and this is shown in our level as the player must use all the parts they found and their mechanics to work out their way through the level. Therefore, the player must solve the level using what abilities they've gained, meaning they're using spatial reasoning to do so. Yeah, I think that's a good justification. I think it definitely fits spatial reasoning. There's no game mechanics that I'm looking at thinking, is that really spatial reasoning? Is that distracting too much from?
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
I think it all fits very neatly inside that spatial reasoning dynamic.
Yes. Yep. There's no timer that's horrible that's making me think I've got to race. Yeah. So in this case, I think that they've made a very good choice in terms of all the mechanics. I think start with the excellent category, and where do we go from there?
So excellent is a clear core dynamic that suits the theme of the game and is well supported by an integrated set of mechanics and appropriate audio-visual choices.
I think we're easily there.
Yeah.
What does Prizeworthy look like?
Prizeworthy is a clear core dynamic that suits the theme of the game and that is entirely supported by a well-integrated set of mechanics and resonant audio-visual choices.
I think, well, I'm not entirely sure we're all the way there because of and it could be because I've not been able to get far enough to experience some of the kind of risks and rewards to kind of make these informed choices. But I do think that that we are easily excellent and I think creeping towards the prizeworthy.
So halfway between?
Yep. And what about the, what about for the final feedback?
Yeah, so for the feedback, shall I just read what they put in the game next?
Yep.
So they said, during our feedback session, we got some positive responses regarding our basic premise and our planned tutorial features. The main aspect to be positively highlighted was the slow reveal of mechanics that are only introduced once the player needs them. This is because it's a good way to prevent the player from feeling overwhelmed and therefore not learning how to use each mechanic properly. So on that point, I think they've definitely done that. they've given you sort of the space to learn properly how each mechanic works before introducing the next.
Yep.
Due to this positive feedback, we decided to fully embrace this idea, meaning during our prototype level, the players only given part when it isn't necessary for them to use them. Okay, next section is saying it was noted, however, that our core dynamic was a bit unclear, whether we were going for a collection game or a spatial reasoning one. This confusion came about because we had thought our game's core mechanic was collection, because the player's main goal is to collect all the parts that upgrade their robot and complete the level. However, once talking through in our feedback session, we learned that it didn't quite make the game's core or mechanic collection, but instead collection was more a sub-dynamic. We responded to this feedback by embracing spatial reasoning as our core dynamic, originally a sub-dynamic. This meant we made our level slightly more of a puzzle, where the player has to work out how to use their parts to complete the level. And yeah, I think that really kind of goes with what we were talking about before, where everything kind of fits the spatial reasoning core dynamic really well.
Yep. I agree with that.
And then they've got another bit saying another final piece feedback we received was when we had someone to play test the game. This enabled us to see whether players might have difficulty in solving these issues. The biggest correction we made from doing this was that we discovered our dialogue was printed and dismissed too quickly, and there was too much of it. Thanks to this, we were able to edit down our dialogue and catch the issue before we finished it.
Excellent. So I think between the good and the excellent, that I think they articulated their feedback really well, and I think that they have made appropriate and well-suited changes based on the feedback they've given.
Yeah. So, do you want me to read out those?
Yep, or start with the one that kind of most fits that, and we'll see if it
So excellent is feedback was clearly articulated, interpreted, and reasonable changes have been successfully made.
I think we're exactly there.
Yeah, I think that sounds bang on.
Excellent. Perfect. So that is our game for this. That is our session for this particular game. We'll move on to the next one.
Thanks, Age. That's actually the last one for this particular video, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.